Hey, hope you're okay. Um, I'm just crying with laughter at Jade as we came on here. So Jade has this thing. Can I share all of this? Because I'm gonna anyway. Jade has this thing where she can't burp, which is really ridiculous. And I remember it going back from being a kid, but now she's decided it's an actual real life condition and given me the real name for it and told me what treatment there is, which is apparently Botox in your throat. I'm not sure if she's just trying to get Botox or what, but I'm crying with laughter as I started this. So, hi, nice to see you. I hope you're not new here because if you are, I'm really sorry for that introduction. Um, yeah, if I saw you this morning for Social B, I hope you're all getting on with that and setting all of your categories and hashtags and things up. It's the most beautiful day. I've pulled my blind down and I'm still squinting. I feel like I could wear sunglasses in the office today. So, hi, if you're here, come and say hi. I can see all your comments as we go. So it's a really, really quick one today, and I just wanted to talk about roadblocks and challenges that you come up against in your business, but also as a person, kind of thing, like in life. And one of the things that we talk about a lot as a single person business owner, especially if you're a really micro or small business, um, is that we're trying to balance our work and our life, and it doesn't exist. There is no work life balance when you own your own business and there's just you. It's all about how you merge them together. And I think that's really important when we start talking about the roadblocks and challenges to recognize that your goal is to manage this the best way that you can, not in a perfect way, because there's not people running around doing things for you. So, I'm going to kind of give you five, maybe six, and just talk about them quickly. If you've got any questions, jump on and ask me as always. And if you're watching this on a replay and you've got a question, just tag me in it and I will come on and answer. So the first challenge within like running a small business is over multitasking. And I'm laughing as I say this because just now me and Jade were both trying to work, and all of our laptop work every time we sat together is very much like, oh, what we're doing, because I am especially terrible at jumping from one task to another and trying to do them all at the same time. It's really bad for productivity. Science has repeatedly shown us that humans can't do two things at the same time. All we are good at is switching really quickly, but that means that we forget things. And if any of you got ADHD like me, the paths I go down to do things and then just leave them like forgotten is insane. How many times I found an email that I swore to someone that I've sent sat in drafts because I never finished it um, is astounding. I've just done one 20 minutes ago where I started writing an email to someone, moved on to something else. I might have just gone off to find an appointment date or something else that was for that email, and then I've gone. So trying to multitask is harmful. It harms our quality of work, it harms our productivity. And it is a big, big challenge in running your business because there is so much information coming in from different ways. One way to help yourself get over that is using things like the Eisenhower box and continually making sure you're working on one task at a time and you keep going back to that one task. If you remember another task to do, write it down. Don't start it straight away. Just write it down so that you don't forget. Um, but lots of this is practice sticking to the plan that you set yourself. I have lots of other little tips that I talk about, like I never sit down at my laptop without having a task generally. So as soon as I notice I'm just clicking through things, move away, go and get a glass of water, start again, come back with a task. But over multitasking is a real big challenge as a business owner. Next one ties straight into it. So procrastination and social media usage. We talked about it in Social B today, how often we go to social media to post. How often do we actually just post and leave? Like so rarely. We see something that could be aligned to our business, or we see a post that we need to comment on and we get stuck down that rabbit hole. Um, it seems like it's a good method of taking a break to just nip onto social media, but it might be taking way, way longer than necessary, even more than appropriate. Um, so in terms of undoing that or overcoming that roadblock, it's like move your phone away from you when you're working, so you can't just randomly pick it up because you're a little bit bored. Close all your other tabs down. This is about where and how you can take control. Social media procrastination is a huge one for so many of us because it's so closely linked to work that we think we can fob it off to ourselves as working, and it's not. Okay, time constraints. And this sort of leads on to burnout a little bit, but time constraints are they often come they often come upon us because we haven't planned in advance in the first place. So I was running a course this morning, and this morning before I left, I was still checking some notes and checking that I knew exactly what I wanted to teach. I didn't need to learn anything about the topic. I didn't need to make any slides, but I did need to make sure that I was covering things in a logical, kind of coherent manner. But I was doing that this morning. And so how I felt when I left the house this morning was really different to how I would have felt if I'd done it in advance, if I'd done it yesterday, if I'd done it a week ago. So lots of our stuff around deadlines is more around the fact that deadlines sneak up on us because we didn't plan it in before. So if I know I have a presentation to do on Monday, 2 weeks before, why am I not time blocking my calendar to make the slides for it? And this is something I work really hard on trying to overcome. And I'll do it really well for a little while, and then I'll slip, and then I'll go back to doing it really well. But it's things like this that are massive challenges for us in our business because not only does it lead to you physically being behind, it adds a huge emotional, mental effect on where you're panicking all of the time that you're not where you want to be or that you never have enough time. You start buying into these stories are not true. We all have the same amount of time. We have different commitments. But the biggest thing is the way we choose to spend it. So yeah, the time constraints and the deadlines are a big challenge. And it's always, as soon as I put a deadline in, it's working back from that. So we've got strategy day in April, for example. It's the 15th of April, so it's nearly a month away. I had in my calendar last week to start printing out the workbooks, etc., so that they are done and in a folder and ready for that morning that I need to go. And that's the stuff that keeps us calm, keeps us in a good frame of mind. Um, my next one that I want to talk about is technology challenges. So it might be that the tech doesn't work, or it might be that you don't know how to use it properly. And you can spend a lot of time learning stuff that either you don't need to. I've wasted a lot of time trying to figure out things that actually there was a quicker and easier way to do it. So things you don't need to, or you're trying to learn in a way that doesn't suit you. So in Members Club, we have loads of videos on things, and yet still today we did a live training session today. Still today, I'd have people asking me, how do I do this? How do I do that? And it's wonderful because I can refer them off to a video. But lots of that comes with the own challenge of some self-learning, like choosing to invest time. But in terms of technology, these are things like I don't know how my email lists work, I don't know how to link it all together. And there's loads of training available for things like that. But it ties directly into this lack of self discipline idea of figuring out like when am I going to take time to learn that's not 2 minutes before I need to use it. So if you know you need to send an email newsletter out and you have no idea how your email newsletter marketing stuff works, trying to learn it at the point in which you're trying to send something out, it's never going to be fun. It's always going to be super stressful and feel like this massive challenge and eventually become something that you give up on. That's really different from scheduling learning time, figuring out like how you learn best, finding a teacher that teaches you in the way that you want to. The course we ran this morning it was about using Social B for scheduling your social media. And the point of that is to free you up from chasing it constantly. And that course, Sarah said, she had a comment that this course sounds like it's like a fireworks show because everyone just keeps going, ooh. And it like proper made me laugh. And it was the best thing I could ever hear. But the idea that like anybody could learn about social media online, they can follow video instructions, being in a room and learning it was really, really different. But it's the same with all tech. If you're in Pro Group, ask the question in Heartbeat and let us tell you the answer, rather than waste loads of time and challenges coming over and like trying to figure it out for yourself. Hey Jade. Now, none of that's true. You definitely find it harder than some other people, but your brain is so like mine. It's more yours is, I don't think you have a strategy for when you know you've gone off of like self-discipline and you don't lean in time. So when I am faffing around, I can text Jade or whatever and say, Jade, I'm fucking about, and she just shouts at me and tells me what it is I need to be doing. And it's just enough to push me back on, but you need someone to lean into for that. And that's what we want to be able to do. And then be able to say, right, well, you need to do things in this order. And then it's that whole, right, so I have a path, but I do know that you have like challenges around this and that it's all ADHD based. And also that you've got a really busy life. Like you're also trying to run a business and still work and look after your kids. And this will always come up as a thing. Hey Jackie, haven't seen you for ages. Yeah, that self-discipline. A lot of it is often about that you haven't decided what to do first rather than um actual self-discipline to do it. Because Jade, I've seen you do some immense things. Lots of yours is I don't know where to start. It's more overwhelmed for you, I think, a lot of the time than self-discipline, I think. And it leads into my last one, which is number 6. It was about like no clear vision. I think this is like the tie for lots of this. If you don't know exactly what you're trying to create, how on earth can you do it? And every so often, me and Tom had a day off on Friday, and we went for a walk. We were talking about business and stuff, and I was talking about how it's almost like in my business, certainly, I go through growth phases that are like selling phases. I create things and sell them. And then I almost have to backfill with some foundations underneath. And I was just talking about this with Ange today. And that clear vision thing is I know where I want to go. So I go out and sell it. But then I have to choose to take some time back to almost plateau for a little while to come and backfill. So it might be I spend a load of time updating social media to support the stuff I've done, or setting up some more automation. So I know I want to create, so I'll build a load of lead magnets, but then I have to backfill. Then I have to go and like decide how they're getting out to the public. How am I marketing them? And it's been able to work in these like waves almost of creating new stuff and then supporting all of that new stuff. And that clear vision, when I talk about that, that's almost what allows you to get there because you can see what it is that you're doing, but then you have to give yourself that time to kind of build some foundations behind it, usually. And actually, I think that's the right way to do it. Lots of people talk about foundations in first, go and get customers first, and then we backfill your foundations. Um, and it stops you from staying in procrastination. It's like I want to create something, I'll create it and sell it, and then I need to support it so that it can become more long term. And that's where that vision aligns. Is what am I trying to create? Um, Overwhelm will always be the biggest roadblock or challenge for me, and my goal is usually to manage how I deal with that along the way. Like, how do I break it down? How do I pick my one thing to do next? Like, that's something that Jade and I have had loads of conversations about, is pick your one thing, then your next thing, then your next thing. But you do one thing and you do it well, and then you move on. Okay. So there's lots of bits in this, like control what you can, like really, really control what you can. Stay optimistic. Like one of the biggest criteria for being successful as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, is being optimistic about finding a solution, about figuring it out. I don't know how to do this yet, but somebody else will. Like stay in that mindset. Plan and prepare. This will always be the one that I continually mess up. I will do it really well and then I won't. And then I'll do it really well and then I won't. And that's okay as long as I keep going back to doing it really well. Make sure you are aware of like what you're saying to yourself, like shift some of your focus inwards, listen to your voice, listen to how you are talking to yourself, and freaking well challenge it. If some of this stuff comes up against, like you, Jade, I've got zero self discipline, that's not true. I have seen you achieve some incredible stuff that could not have happened without self discipline. And it might have been stuff you were more passionate about, stuff you enjoyed more. But to do any of the stuff you've done requires self discipline, and you, Jackie. So yeah, watch this criticism of yourself and the stories that you're telling yourself and believing. Um, the last kind of it is like, look for some impartial advice. Look for someone who will tell you the truth. Like, this is what Pro is made for. Look for somewhere where you can lean in and they will say, meh, that's not true. Or, I don't really like that. I don't see how that works. What about this? And they will actually guide you through stuff with your best interest in mind, not with theirs. And this bit's really, really important. Having a trusted mentor is it's just so important. I couldn't do a lot of the stuff that I do without people to bounce it off of. Um, and then my very last bit is like my woo woo bit. It's like be grateful for all of the stuff you've got, all of the stuff you've done, how far you've come already, and keep looking forward for what it is that's next. What do you want to achieve next, and how do you get there? And so much of that is about planning and prep, but it's all about that one step at a time. We cannot do it all at once, none of us. Um, I often feel like I have a little period where I bring out loads of stuff, but then I have to stop. I have to choose to stop and backfill it and support it where I can. And so there will be times like I'm in a period now where I have made an active, conscious decision that until I get back from Disney, so until June, basically, I am backfilling. I am supporting the stuff that I'm already doing. I'm making sure I'm doing that to the best that I can, so that when June comes, I can like redo it again or just move forwards. But it is choosing to have that active time where, okay, like I need to support my business. It can't always be going forwards. Sometimes you have to decide to plateau. All right, that's that. It's school run time, and for the first time in months, I am so excited for school run because it is beautiful weather. Like there's nothing nicer than walking home from school through the woods when it's gorgeous. So I'm really, really excited. All right. Any questions, as always, ask me, tag me if you're watching this on replay, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I will see lots of you next Monday, I think, for our monthly meetup. I think we've got nearly 40 women. I think it's 39 women booked on this one. So it's going to be really, really busy. So my Facebook Live next week is again at this time at 2 o'clock. Um, and then we've got a few other things that week, but none of them are specifically mine, so I'll not tell you about them. They'll come out in the email. All right, ladies, have the loveliest afternoon. And I will see you all next week. All right, bye.